Sorry, I'm just reading off of this. The February 11th, 2015 Lakeville Township Park District Board Commissioners meeting is called to order at 6 p.m. Roll call.
Here.
Here.
Furtado.
Here.
Newton.
Here.
Pulaski. Here. Stein.
All right. Mimi, would you like to lead us in the pledge?
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any public comments? Anybody here tonight that would like to make a public comment? Nobody moving forward for public comment. Consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion?
Yes, on the consent agenda in regards to with the staff reports, in regards to comments that I made, in regards to the park.
In the meeting minutes?
The missing park.
That was about the survey, correct?
Right. That there was a park missing, I specified it was Good Shepherd Church Park. It was not stated.
I remember that discussion. I don't know. Oh, here it is. It's in a section A. Commissioner Stein is pointing out
Yes.
that a part was missing.
I just need to put the part on.
And the correction has been made to the survey.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Okay, a motion was made that the Park Board of Commissioners approve the consent agenda with the amendment to add the park name in section A, correct? No?
That was no motion.
That was okay.
Somebody wants to withdraw and take it back, you know?
Do you want it added in?
Yes, please.
So maybe the woman wants to withdraw,
So
I'll
we're
second
gonna-
it.
Oh, okay, I will withdraw that motion. And the second,
I will withdraw second.
And then a motion made to accept the consent agenda, including the minutes as amended.
okay. A motion, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda with the minutes as amended.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, roll call.
Pierce.
Yes.
Lumen.
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Pulaski.
Yes.
Stein.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, we are
Did you
now.
skip me? Oh, I'm sorry, polling. I think you skipped me for roll call too. Yes, I'm here. Yes, I'm here
okay,
and
there you
yes.
We're doing really well tonight. Next is action items.
No.
Oh, staff reports.
Okay.
Let's all get
So,
on the right page.
Good. Some things to just cover that's going on in the near future. The comprehensive master plan is well underway right now. We've had 2 Delphi committees with the groups of leaders that were selected and have come to. It's been great participation. We'll have a 3rd meeting next Thursday, the 19th. Additionally, next Wednesday, the 18th, we have the board visioning session here at 6 p.m. And then also on 2/25 at 7:30, also here, we'll be having a town meeting to have citizen input and public comment. Also that week, in coordination with that, we'll be launching the Mind Mixer component that will allow for an online public forum in efforts to take open comments from people who are not able to attend meetings and would like to also give input. Just to notify, it just was in the weekly reports as well, and give a lot of credit to, even though she's not here, Emily Brooks had secured $7,000 towards the ADA project that we'll be working on at Four Seasons from the Lions Club, so we also like to thank the Lions Club for that as well. One of the things is, what was a small aspect of what we were looking at with working with Emily and her securing greater funds, turns into something that will benefit both the fields with an ADA pathway from the parking lot to the center of the 2 fields with a concrete pad in which anybody requiring would be able to utilize it. We will be, our new Director of Planning will be starting on 2/23. Her name is Michelle Rooks Lopez. She comes from the Northbrook Park District in a similar position. She was a senior planning supervisor at that point. She will be stationed out at the Parks Department shop out next to Four Seasons, so we're excited to have her. She will be sitting at the table next month. And then the only other thing I would like to discuss possibly is establishing one extra meeting with the board in a workshop type fashion to kind of develop a bridge plan for right now, so to give myself and the staff a little bit better direction as a whole. One of the things is, we're working on the master plan. The master plan should be unrolled. We're probably looking at anywhere from July, August to possibly November by the time we go through all approvals, etc. But in that time, we want to make sure, as a whole, we're all working off the same page. We know what the direction I know the direction, and the staff knows the direction of what the board as a consensus is looking for us to accomplish in the next 6 months. What are the need tos? So what I would like to do is, if you guys can look at your calendars in the near future, or if you want to do it tonight, I'd like to establish one board workshop to establish that bridge plan between where we are now and where we're going to be between now and then when the master plan takes effect, unless there's an objection to something like that. Or comment on that.
Would you be thinking March?
March is fine.
So March 11th would be our regular meeting. So does anyone have any interest in the 18th or 25th? Keeping it on a Wednesday? Wednesdays are good? Any preference?
Would March 18th work? And then we can actually have, I at least am able to work off one direction for the board as a whole, instead of, as I've been meeting with each of the different commissioners, everybody has a lot of input, and we're just trying to narrow it down to what's the most important we want to go through at this point until the master plan is established.
So we'll go with March 18th?
Yep, 6 o'clock,
Here?
we can meet. You know what, we'll actually do that one at the Recreation Administration Facility, and you guys
On
can
Hollow
see,
Street
yep, and you'll be able to see the renovations they made to the facility.
At 6 p.m. Next is the Recreation Manager, Equestrian Center.
At this point, we're gonna have Amanda come up, a recreation manager of equestrian services at the Normantown Equestrian Center. She's gonna go through basically our summary report that was provided to you, and also present you guys with the business plan that we're trying to start establishing so that we have our operational manual.
Alright, good evening, I'm Amanda Bergman, for those of you that don't know me. I'm the Recreation Manager at Normantown Equestrian Center, as Carla said. I'm here tonight to tell you how Normantown came to be where we are now and where we're going in the future. The facility itself was actually a cooperative venture between Fry Properties and the Plainfield Park District. We acquired part of the value of the land through the village's land donation ordinance. So developers are required to donate land to help maintain quality of life for future and present residents through preservation of open spaces. And then the rest of the property the Park District actually purchased. They both saw this as a unique recreational opportunity to offer to the community. The barn was originally located on 38 acres of land, and then when the housing development went in, it went down to 5 acres. And we began operations out there in 2005. In today's world, many people are detached from nature and very focused on technology. It's important for people's physical, mental, and social health to connect with nature. Studies have shown that interactions with horses reduce stress, build confidence, develop character, enhance relationship skills, and also help people develop trust. When you're working with such a big animal, it's amazing to see these kids get control over it, and they feel so good about themselves when they're out there working with the large animals and learning how to speak another language, so to say. And not to mention, they get physical benefits from grooming, riding, and also helping with chores out of the stables. The niche of our barn has been to be a starter barn. So basically to give people a chance to have their first experiences with horses. Many local barns are very fast-paced, show-oriented places. So we're unique in that way. We can offer quality, affordable programs to the community and students where they can learn from the ground up. When that means that we teach them how to care for the horses and other aspects of horses, not just the riding portion of things. Whereas some stables will have them ready to go for you when you show up, and they don't really teach them all about everything. There's a lot to learn. And this focus complements the Park District's mission statement, which is to promote the development of a comprehensive park system that provides recreational opportunities for all residents, as well as to offer diversified programs and activities that provide personal enjoyment, contribute to a sense of self-fulfillment, and enhance the quality of life of all residents. Normantown offers a variety of programs to the community. We have private, which are one-on-one group, one-on-one lessons. There's group lessons, which has one instructor and 3 students. And then we also do summer camps. There's about 7 different summer camps that will be offered this year. We also have services for those who own horses. So we do dry stall boarding, which is a self-serve type of boarding where people are responsible for their own labor and supplies. And then we also offer full service. So we take complete care. There's even some owners that are rarely out, maybe due to illness, and their horse, they don't have to worry. Their horse is completely cared for, and they get notified if anything happens to them. We host schooling shows at the barn, kind of like I compare it to if you do practice for some other sport, and then you have a game. So the schooling shows are kind of like a way for the students to put what they've learned to use, basically. So we offer those. We also have started a horse show team where we take people that have their own horses as well as some lesson horses and students to off-site shows, and they compete there. So we just started that this past year. We do holiday picture and pony ride events, Boy and Girl Scout outings. We work with DePaul University. They have an externship that they provide. So every year I help with the hands-on portion of that class, and they're discovering the therapeutic benefits of equine-human interactions. It's a neat class. Mostly all adults that come to that. We also do Normantown After Dark outings. It's pretty much groups of horse lovers, so the kids all get together. We show them how we close up the barn at night. They do chores, we have pizza and play games, and they watch movies. So it's like a social outing, I guess, for kids that love horses. We actually have 3 apartments that are attached to the building itself that are rented out. And the people that live there, 2 of them have nothing to do with horses. It's basically just renting an apartment. We also rent space to a therapy called Equilibrium. They provide cutting-edge equine psychotherapy, and she will rent the space during non-peak hours. So when we're not using the small arena that we have there, she'll use it to have therapy sessions. We do birthday parties, so our pony parties are usually run on the weekends out there for those who want to have a birthday. And we also now rent storage units as a convenience to the dry stall boarders, so they can have extra space available to them if they want to rent it to keep their supplies, because they get a third of a stall as part of their boarding agreement to keep things in, and they sometimes need more space. And we also have a volunteer program at the facility. They assist us with lessons, barn chores, and special events. They earn free lessons, so every 40 hours of service they get a free lesson at the barn. And this is a really great mutually beneficial relationship because they help us cut a lot of labor costs, but they're enjoying their time, they're learning, and it's helping give them like opening doors to opportunities in the future. Because some of them go on to pursue education or careers in the equine industry, and so they really get to learn a lot more about how things work by running those events, and some of them even end up working at the barn when they get old enough. Normantown's a unique park district facility in the fact that it houses live animals who need care 365 days a year. Rain or shine, holidays or not, you're sick, it doesn't matter, the horses need somebody there, and it's basically never closed. The agricultural nature of this has an impact on budgeting and staffing. I have to look for employees that have a special skill set and also a passion for what they do. Horse people are just very unique in the fact that you can't even explain this to people that aren't obsessed with horses, but you would rather do anything and everything for them, and so it's also been said to make a small fortune in horses, start with a large one. They're very high maintenance and expensive animals, and they require a lot of labor, feed, bedding, veterinary care, farrier services, which is their hooves get trimmed, and we also have to pay for manure removal since the land is so small that we can't spread it or anything. And then not to mention the equipment needed for operations, so the tractors, and the drag for the arena, the trailer that we have, all that stuff goes into costs. And then the lesson program also has equipment such as saddles and bridles and all the things that we need, brushes, everything we need to run all of our programs. We do regular cost comparisons of our vendors at the barn, so we make sure that we're paying the best price possible and available to us for supplies and services. We've made some bigger staffing and vendor changes over the years. The biggest ones I would say would be when we started the operations, there were four full-time staff members getting wages and insurance, and now we have 2 full-time. So that got cut in half. And in the past month, I've also changed our shavings vendor, and it's kind of on a trial and error basis, and that could save us up to $7,000 for the year. It lasts longer and it's a little more absorbent. It might even cut down my manure hauling costs as well, since we're kind of throwing away less of it. And I broke down kind of boarding and lessons, because those are kind of 2 big programs. And it's important to point out, boarding is expensive and typically shows a loss year to year because of the high labor costs. Labor accounts for 75% of the boarding expenses, and what goes into the labor would be a portion of my salary. My salary is split between lessons and boarding. Because I teach lessons, I feel like I work out there, I should cover part, try to help make some money for the barn as well. So I teach lessons, and part of my salary comes out of lessons, and part of it comes out of boarding expenses. And then the barn hands who clean the stalls every day, we have only 1 full-time guy who helps me with maintenance, and then a part-time on the weekend. Their salaries come out of that account. And we also have what we call barn coordinators, which are people that work pretty much Monday through Friday, the 4 to 8 shift in the PM when the lessons are going on. And also we're open on the weekends as well. So we're open 7 days a week, and I've got to have somebody there, like I said, most all the time to watch over the horses. Although this is an expensive thing, it's important to note that in the past 3 years, our labor costs have actually decreased by 10%. So even though from year to year it's losing money, we've been able to watch costs and cut them every year. And net boarding income increased by 27% from fiscal year 2013 to fiscal year 2014. So we're doing the best we can to manage these expenses. Lessons are always the bread and butter of any equine operation, and they've been profitable every year for the past 9 years. Net income from lessons increased $26,944 from fiscal year 13 to fiscal year 14. And our lesson expenses lowered by $10,000. It's been on its way up. Part of the expenses being lower, we had a drought, I think it was 2011 or 12, and the hay prices they shot up really high. So that started to come down, helped a lot with supplies getting lowered. And now going into this year, we just did our 6-month budget review, and we are on track to have a really great year. We have amazingly talented staff right now. We're 2 horses shy of being at capacity in the barn. We've got 39 horses at the barn, and we can fit 41 for what space we have. And we also are almost filled up on our lesson schedule. We have 83 of 88 spots full every week for lessons. And we haven't even entered our busy season yet. So it has been really busy. Partly due, I had a new instructor come in, and she brought a lot of students from a barn that she worked at, so she's been getting a lot of calls for her. At the 6-month mark, we're showing a profit of $14,778, whereas last year we were showing a net loss of $35,000 at the same point in time. It was largely due, we spent a lot on capital last year, so that was a lot of it, but even with taking that out, we were at a net loss last year at the same point we are this year. The capital expenditures, though, have helped us to do facility improvements. And like I said, our land has been drastically cut down from what it originally was. And if you think about it, the barn was built there on that 38 acres. So when we cut down the land, the barn is still the same size. Like, the barn didn't get cut down, but the land did. So that is a big problem for us because we have so many stalls, limited acreage, and it deters people from wanting to keep horses there. And so most people want them to live as close as possible to how nature intended them to be outside, grazing, moving around. So when people come, like, do you have grass turnout? No, like, they want the horses out as long as possible. So with the money we spent on improvements, we were really able to try to maximize our space and do the best we could with what we have. So one of the big things that we did, we fixed the paddocks outside, the spots where horses get turned out every day. The maintenance helped us put in drainage and all other footing outside so that they could be out there, because it used to get really dangerous after any kind of precipitation. The horses could slip or fall there on like a suicide mission. But another paddock we had where we extended it and split it in half. So we just tried to maximize as much space to get as many horses out as long as possible. We also used money to redo the footing in our indoor arena, which is also important. That's where horses exercise and people ride, and so it'd be like somebody running on pavement versus on a track. So it really helped to keep the footing great because our lesson horses go on that too. So that cuts down your vet costs when they can stay healthy riding on that good footing. And like I mentioned earlier, maintenance did a wonderful job revamping the back of the facility, and they made storage spaces equipped with garage doors, so there was a convenience to dry stall boarders, and also added another revenue source. And we have active choice vending out at the facility now. They're supposed to provide us with healthier choices in vending, which is awesome for the boarders and students because they spend a lot of time out there, and it gives them the convenience of not having to run out and get something to eat really quick. And we also get commissions from the sales of that machine as well. And I'm super excited to tell everyone that Normantown's been awarded $12,506 in grant money from Illinois Equine Industry Research and Promotion Board, and we'll be using this money to build shelters in the turnout spaces and also replenish some sand in our outdoor riding arena. So we just got notice that we'll be getting this money for supplies towards that project. As we move into the future, there's been a lot of activity at the barn, so we need to review our barn policy and procedures, which includes our barn rules of riding etiquette and our boarding contracts. We're also going to look at evaluating the prices of boarding and lessons, make sure that they're cost effective and competitive. We would like to get a security system for out at the facility as well. Not only, we don't have like a theft problem or anything, but there's a lot of things that go on out there, so even for safety reasons, it will help us keep an eye on things because horses are unpredictable and do things all the time outside. Our classes for children who are 5 to 7 years old are super popular, and so I've added more group and camps for that age group. We've had, all my sections are full for PV classes, all the way up until summer right now, and I have wait lists on some of them. So, and people are already calling, asking about camps and that, and I've had to add sections in previous summers for that age group, so it's really popular, so I'm focused on that. And like I said, we did the show team for the first time this past year. So we're going to take more students and lesson horses to outside schooling shows in 2015. And I'd also like to invite outside barns into our facility to kind of encourage and motivate the students to do their best at home. And also that will help bring in money for our horse shows as well. And we'll keep looking at new offerings and events to have as well. I'm going to be working with the marketing department on a couple of things. One of them is developing an online store for Normantown Apparel. In the past year, I had jackets made with our new logo, and all the kids loved it. They show up wearing it at the barn, and it looks really nice though too. So I even had to place 2 orders, because after the first order, then everybody's like, I want one too. And so I ended up ordering another round of jackets, and everyone's like, can we get shirts? Can we get saddle pads? So we're going to be working on that. And then the other project I would like to work on is updating the Park District website pages for the barn, just so it's more personalized, has more personalized information about facility staff and horses and bios and pictures and things of that nature. And then for the facility, we'll obviously be doing the shelters, hopefully in the spring and summer, and we'll add the sand to the outdoor. Normantown is a hidden gem of the Park District, and hopefully I've educated you enough so that you can help spread the word about this amazing facility. And thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share this information with you. A lot of people don't really know all the details about what goes on out there, what goes into it. So does anybody have any questions?
I have one.
Sure.
With the manure, have we considered composting it somewhere on other parkland?
That hasn't been brought up before.
Isn't it a good source of fertilizer? And
Well, the only thing is, what I have heard about it is that they're looking for pure manure. And there's shavings mixed in with it and such, so I don't know if that, I don't really know a lot about composting, but that was always an issue. I know, because we'd asked
your shavings are made up of,
wood.
oh, well,
Yeah.
we have net compost too.
Yeah, well, I just knew, because we had asked farmers before to see about spreading it on their fields, and they said it messed with the nitrogen or something in the soil, so, but it's something to look into.
Yeah, do we compost other stuff?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just to interject, keep in mind that most of our parks are in subdivisions and there is a definite odor.
Yeah.
You know, that's,
We don't have something somewhere? I don't know.
I'm sure we could concentrate in that line of thought and find something. But
We
for
have
the
had
smaller
private
parks
people.
and the sports parks, the odor just doesn't permit us to do
Yeah,
that.
I can understand that it's restrictive.
Yeah, we've had private individuals come and take, it's an insignificant amount of manure,
In
but,
regards to your hay and so forth, it's gonna be on some of our lands, isn't that true? Gene?
oh, the
What was
hay.
I
Some of the hay development here being sold back to us in regards to the horses. Is that being grown somewhere on our property?
It was being grown on our property. We're doing a farm lease program right now where we're looking at perhaps getting more money for the property itself than our savings for the hay would be. So that's a little bit up in the air right now. But up until this season, yes, our hay was grown on our property. And we did get a significant break on the cost and a lot of cooperation as far as bringing it to us and so forth.
Well, my point is that, like I said, usually that's, on the hay and so forth, it's usually on farmable land and so forth. Hay grows on pretty much anything, it's just like grass. And I'm saying for your compost methods and so forth, possibility of mixing it out there.
Yeah, it's not really a touchy subject, but it is. And there again,
Yeah, cost savings
our
over
hay
that
crop,
aspect.
where the farmer is growing the hay, is right next to, is at Klaus Stevens, which is filled with soccer kids every weekend. You know, so you could save some money over here by using our manure where they grow our hay, but then you have to put up with the complaints and come up with an answer there. So it's kind of a complicated.
What about setting up an arboretum somewhere, maybe in Four Seasons or somewhere in your confines in regards to growing trees and using that compost for the
I think
fertilizer?
some sort of tree nursery is always in the back of our minds. We just have to go forward with that, but that's an excellent idea.
If we can't find a viable use for it within the park district per se itself, and rather than just being thrown, is there some way to make it available for the public? People use this stuff for their tomato gardens and so forth and so on. Is there any way to have availability free? People like it if it's free.
Yeah, well, part of the problem is you have to let it sit for a period of time before it's usable or it removes nitrogen from the ground.
Oh, you're gonna have staging areas.
Yeah, so you've got to have some place, whether, you know, people want to do it at their own homestead, I guess that's their choice.
There's
no
problem.
Yeah.
Horse manure, that's your problem. Because the other concern is flies.